Moving right along, next up, Mr. Repay, Town of Dyer. Engineering, Hart Ditch Floodplain Storage at Briar Ridge and Floodplain Storage at US Route 30.
So
Are these two separate or are you packaging them together?
they're two separate, but they'll probably be packaged together, but I'll let Thomas make that decision, or unless Brian wants to. They did a study about doing two-stage ditches and continuing on from when they did it over there by Town Hall. And then these were the areas that they thought were the most beneficial. And they had, I guess, property rights and property, accessibility. So, that's what they're proposing. And I'll let Thomas, who already has it up and running here, present, because he knows I can't do technology.
Good evening. I apologize for not being there in person, but as Dan alluded to, Brian Lane from the town of Dyer is Thomas Burke here with Christopher Burke Engineering. So what we have is a map of one of the two study areas, or two areas that we'd like to pursue. The two-stage ditch project, as Dan mentioned, was successful before by the town hall. Calumet Avenue is the north-south street, 213th. Down here, Briar Ridge Country Club, Main Street is up here. So we're talking about a 2,700 foot length along the east side of Hart Ditch on Briar Ridge Property Owners Association. We've got about 1.5 million gallons of storage, new storage that would be created by this project. We'd also address the stabilization of the toe of the ditch, which has been eroding. And we have talked to the Briar Ridge Property Owners Association. They were in agreement with allowing us to do this work inside that easement. And the benefit is, or this kind of shows an area, it's a narrow area to do the work. But this shows some of the benefits. We get a 0.6 foot elevation reduction at Calumet Avenue. The cross section on the right is showing you what the existing grade would be versus what we're proposing to excavate out here and create all that storage, the 1.5 million gallons of storage. So we have significant reduction in elevation for the 100-year event. We're estimating the engineering cost for this is $169,000 roughly, and requesting 50% funding for $84,660. The town and drainage board will be responsible for the other half. And we're planning on doing this engineering this fall, so it can be constructed next year. You want the other one as well, same time?
No, let's ask some questions about this one. I'll have one, Mr. Burke. So you're saying that the engineering is going to try to increase holding water at this location?
Correct.
So there's a lot of water that moves down Hart Ditch, which I consider this a feeder for. So how are you going to look to expand the width to be able to bring on more storage? How are you planning on doing that as far as the concept?
So we're creating so this shows the existing grade of the ditch right now. It comes up here to the property line, where at this property line it goes from Property Owners Association to the homeowners, individual homeowners along Hart Ditch. So we're excavating out this wedge, but over 2,700 feet. It's a significant enough volume that we're providing 4.5 acre feet of storage. And hence why we're seeing the reduction in elevations by excavating this out.
Part of this too, to stabilize that, are you also looking to stabilize that bank because the volume of water that runs through there is going to continue to erode out? Now you're digging out more.
So we're digging out more, but by providing a larger area, we should have slower velocities coming through here by providing larger area. But we're also stabilizing the toe of the bank, mouse went down here, so that this helps protect the rest of the bank so that we don't have sloughing that we're seeing in a lot of areas on Hart Ditch.
How are you going to stabilize the toe?
The riprap stabilization.
Okay. And you've studied, because the top of that does look a little iffy to me. Like, it seems like it's making it worse. You know, right at the property line, you're making a steeper slope.
We are, but it was also going to be planted with vegetation that will withhold it. It's certainly not as steep as some other areas in the ditch, but we are confident with this grade that we will be able to hold 3-to-1, hold the bank easily.
Okay, gentlemen, any other questions with this particular
from the center of channel to the edge of the property owners, what is that distance?
65 feet
To the middle or?
on average.
To the center?
And it goes west the same distance?
Yes, more or less. There are some areas, depends on, there's a channel that comes in here, but in general, as I apologize, 65 feet from the edge of the bank, not from the center line. So it's probably like 75 feet from the center line of the ditch out to the property line.
Are you doing anything on the west side of it?
We are not. We have looked at this. We had proposed doing, as Dan had mentioned, we looked at a number of areas throughout Dyer and selected the most beneficial ones as well as the ones that we could work with the property owner. So we looked at this area, this triangle piece here that the town owns. However, the town wants to leave this for another water tank. They believe they need to provide a future water tank here. So they didn't want us excavating this. This is the oncology center that there's already a detention pond right here. The town had looked at actually purchasing this property to make it even a wider area over here. It's since sold. We have contacted the new owner about possibly working with the town to create more storage, but that's ongoing. And then some of these other areas get too narrow here to really do much with. So we looked at maximizing everywhere we could, and we're presenting right now what we believe the two best areas.
Mr. Burke, you've been dancing with us for a number of years now, so, one of the concerns is not to create a problem later, by fixing something in this particular screenshot. So are you comfortable as it relates to all of the studies we've done and amount of water that comes down this chute through the Hart Ditch past Wicker Park, that we're gonna have more opportunities to hold water back, or is this it?
No, I believe there's opportunities, but this is in keeping with what your overall goal is to hold water as much as possible along the way, bring down the elevation, decrease the flooding, and this is in concert with that. And I don't believe it's the only one left, but there are other ones that we can propose.
Copy that. So just for the public, that this is a part of what I call Hart Ditch, in that is one of the two primary feeds into the Little Cal for the watershed, this one and Deep River. So this one has a significant amount of density associated with it that creates a litany of challenges, but the amount of water that comes down this on events like we've had here recently is significant. Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Burke on this one?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
where the 60-inch outfall comes from Northgate, that's got to be a lot of water. In your engineering study, are you going to look at, will you have to reinforce that east side as you redo the east side, allowing for that water, that volume that comes from Northgate?
So you're right. There's a lot of volume that comes down here, and we will definitely be protecting the area where it comes out. There is a chance for it tends to dissipate as it comes down here, but certainly there is a lot of water, and we will protect the area across from that outlet very well. We're also, as a side project, the town is looking at trying to upgrade this outlet and put in a pump station to help out the residents of Northgate. We're going through that right now, and again, working with the proposed developer of this site.
Thank you.
Now, the segment you're looking at stops at Shannon Bridge. What about moving northeast toward Main Street?
So we stopped it here because we were working just with the property owners association. When you go north of this, there's a little bit of property owners association, but there's more up here. It's more golf course owned property. And then you get back a little, we had stopped it there just trying to work with one entity. Didn't think the golf course was interested, and have found out since we did this study that the golf course is very interested in extending this from Shannon Bridge all the way to Main Street.
So how does that entail with what you're doing here? Are you saying that that's going to be another project, or can you do that as a part of this one?
We can extend this project to cover the entire length from Calumet to Main Street.
Okay. So, with the golf course and having more open space, I would see that, that would help alleviate where you have tight, components as long as along this run to be able to open up a little more.
I completely agree. We haven't run the numbers to know exactly what the storage is and how much more it decreases, but we know that there is certainly potential when we were told that the golf course would be interested in it.
The whole premise is to slow down the flow and provide additional storage. Correct?
Yes.
Any other questions on this one, gentlemen? All right, Mr. Burke, moving right along.